It began like any other morning on Earth. People woke up, made coffee, checked their phones, and prepared for another ordinary day. But within minutes, everything changed. Across every screen on the planet, phones, televisions, billboards, and even old broken radios, an image appeared. A small alien girl stared directly at humanity. Her skin was pale silver, her eyes glowing bright blue, and her voice soft like a whisper through the stars. "Are you my daddy?" The world froze. At first, people thought it was a prank. Some believed it was an advertisement for a new movie. News anchors laughed nervously as the same message kept repeating. But the laughter stopped when the image refused to disappear. Even when devices were turned off, the girl's voice echoed faintly, through static, through sound waves, through dreams. In every corner of the world, people began to feel something strange. It wasn't fear at first, it was curiosity mixed with unease. Who was she? How did she know English? And why was she calling for a father? Governments rushed to investigate. Scientists in labs tried to trace the signal, but it didn't follow any normal frequency. It didn't come from satellites nor from space stations. It came from everywhere, as if the air itself carried her voice. In a dark control room in Washington, several agents watched the same broadcast play over and over again. The girl's eyes seemed to look straight at them through the screen. Her expression was not angry, not robotic, but sad. Her lower lip trembled when she asked again, "Are you my daddy?" The scientists looked at each other in confusion. One of them, a young woman named Dr. Ilara Mendez, whispered, "She looks human." "Almost." No one replied. Meanwhile, across the ocean in a small apartment in London, a man named Marcus Hale sat frozen in front of his computer. Marcus was an astrophysicist who had spent years studying signals from deep space, but nothing like this had ever happened before. He replayed the video several times, studying her eyes, her mouth, her tone. Every time he felt something pull inside him, an emotion he couldn't explain. She looked lost, afraid, and somehow familiar. Marcus sent a message to one of his old colleagues at the Global Space Research Center. "We need to analyze this. It's not a random signal. It's targeted." Within hours, the world's greatest minds gathered online, trying to decode the message. What they found shocked them. Hidden inside the digital broadcast were strange data strings, patterns that looked like human DNA. Someone had embedded genetic code into the signal. Marcus stared at the data on his screen. The more he looked, the more unsettled he became. The sequence wasn't random. It was organized, almost deliberate. And worse, it looked human. Could this girl be a hybrid? A being part human, part alien? The idea sounded impossible, but nothing about the day made sense anymore. As hours passed, fear began to spread. Religious leaders called it a divine test. News headlines screamed about the alien child. Some people believed the world was ending. Others believed the girl was the key to humanity's future. Social media filled with videos of people responding to the message. Some laughed, pretending to be her father. Others cried, whispering back to their screens, "I'm sorry, sweetheart. I'm not your daddy." But no one could escape her. Even when people shut down their devices, the girl's voice echoed in radio waves and emergency broadcasts, in places that should have been silent. Governments declared a state of emergency. A global meeting was called by the United Nations. They demanded answers. Who is sending this message? Is it an invasion? A trick? But the scientists had no answers. Every attempt to block or trace the transmission failed. The signal adapted, changing frequencies every second, staying one step ahead as if it knew what humans were doing. Then something even stranger happened. The girl's message changed. For the first time, her words were different. She said softly, "Please, someone answer me. I'm lost. I can't find home." Her small voice trembled and tears began to fall down her silver cheeks. The world watched in silence. Those tears weren't digital. They looked real. Every scientist agreed. The expression, the moisture, the sound. It was genuine. Whoever she wasn't just a hologram. She was alive. Marcus felt something deep inside him shift. He couldn't shake the feeling that she was reaching out to him. Her gaze through the screen seemed to find him, as if she could see right into his soul. He whispered to himself, "Who are you?" He zoomed in on her background. Behind her was a glowing metallic wall, covered in strange alien symbols, and one thing that didn't belong. A human object. A small blue teddy bear floating beside her. Marcus froze. That bear was from Earth. It had a manufacturer's tag he recognized. It was made in New York, a toy from 20 years ago. How could an alien child have that? And more importantly, why was she asking for a human father? Around the world, protests began. Some demanded that she be ignored. Others begged the governments to respond to her cries. But the girl never answered back. She just kept asking the same question over and over again. Are you my daddy? Her voice echoed through every country, every city, every home. Marcus stared at the screen one last time before it went black. His heart beat fast, his mind spinning. Something told him this wasn't just a message. It was a call for help. And for reasons he couldn't understand yet, he felt she was calling him. The world did not sleep that night. Everywhere, screens glowed with the same haunting image of the alien girl. Her silver skin shimmered softly, her blue eyes full of pain, and her trembling voice repeated, Are you my daddy? The signal would vanish for a few seconds, and then reappear again stronger than before. Governments called it the event. Scientists called it the impossible transmission. But to billions of people, it felt like the beginning of something no one could explain. In a quiet lab at the Global Space Research Center, Dr. Marcus Hale sat surrounded by blinking screens and lines of unreadable data. He hadn't eaten or slept since the transmission began. Every time he tried to analyze the signal, it changed, like it was alive, learning from his every move. The frequencies twisted and danced, forming shapes that almost looked like letters, like whispers written in code. Marcus rubbed his tired eyes. This isn't random, he murmured. She's trying to tell us something. Dr. Alara Mendez, his old colleague, looked over his shoulder. You've been at this for 18 hours. Maybe it's just interference. Maybe it's a trick from some hacker group. Marcus shook his head. No, there's structure here. Patterns that don't exist in any human encryption system. Look. He pointed at the screen. Between waves of static, a faint heartbeat pulse appeared, a biological rhythm. That's not a machine signal, Marcus said. That's life, Alara frowned. You mean she's sending her heartbeat through the broadcast? Yes, and it's slowing down. The room fell silent. Outside the lab, soldiers and agents guarded the facility. The UN had declared the event a global threat. Rumors spread that the girl was a weapon sent to control human minds. Others claimed she was a hybrid child created in a secret experiment. But Marcus didn't believe any of those stories. Deep in his chest, he felt something else, a strange pull, as if the girl's voice was meant for him alone. That night, as rain fell outside the lab windows, Marcus stayed behind to keep studying the signal. Hours passed. The hum of computers filled the air. Then suddenly his screen flickered, the lights dimmed. The same small face appeared again, the alien girl, but this time she wasn't crying. She was looking directly at him. Her voice was faint but clear. Marcus. I'm cold, his breath caught in his throat. She had said his name. How do you know me? He whispered, leaning closer to the screen. The girl blinked slowly, tears floating like tiny stars in front of her face. Because you made me. The screen went black. Marcus stumbled backward, his heart pounding. He stared at the dark monitor, trying to understand what he had just heard. He had never met her, never worked on anything like her. How could she say he made her? Moments later, the lab doors burst open. Alara ran in, followed by two soldiers. Marcus, the system went crazy. What happened? He didn't answer. He just pointed at the screen. She spoke to me. She said my name. Alara froze. That's impossible. The broadcast is the same everywhere. It can't target one person. But the look on Marcus's face told her it had. By morning, the UN ordered all researchers to stop investigating the signal. They feared it was affecting human emotions, that it could cause panic or worse, obedience. But Marcus couldn't stop. He secretly copied all his data onto a drive and left the lab before sunrise. He needed to find where the signal came from. He drove for hours to an old observatory in the mountains, a place he used to visit when he was young. It was quiet there, away from government networks. He set up his laptop, connected his antenna, and began to track the source manually. As he filtered the waves, one pattern stood out, an exact repeating pulse from deep space near Jupiter's orbit. That's it, he whispered. That's where she is. The signal wasn't random. It was coming from a moving object, a small ship or satellite drifting between Jupiter and its moon Europa. Marcus felt his stomach twist. Whoever she wasn't on Earth. She was out there alone. As he watched the data scroll by, the wind howled outside the observatory. The lights flickered again. A message appeared across the screen. It wasn't from any human system. It was her voice translating itself into text. "They are coming for me. Please hurry." The words repeated twice before fading away. Marcus sat frozen. Who was they? What were they coming for? Then, as if to answer his thoughts, his satellite monitor detected new movement. 5 unknown objects approaching the same location near Jupiter. He whispered, "Ships. Alien ships. They were closing in on her." Suddenly, Marcus's phone buzzed. It was Alara. "Marcus, where are you?" "You're in danger," she shouted. "The military found out you took the data. They think you're working with whoever sent the signal." He looked out the window. Headlights appeared in the distance, moving fast up the mountain road. He grabbed his laptop in the drive, his heart racing. "Alara, listen," he said. "She's real. She's not a weapon. She's out there near Jupiter and she's asking for help. Marcus, just get out of there." The line cut off. He heard helicopters above. The observatory lights went out. For a moment, he stood in the dark, surrounded by silence. Then the screen on his laptop flickered one last time. The girl appeared again. Her eyes filled the screen. "Please find me, Daddy," she whispered. Marcus stared at her face. He didn't know how or why, but he couldn't let her die. He whispered back, "I will." And with that, he ran into the night, carrying the only proof that the alien child, half human, half something else, was waiting for him among the stars. Rain poured over the city like the sky was crying. Sirens echoed far away, but Marcus Hale didn't stop running. His shoes splashed through puddles as he clutched the small hard drive close to his chest. The only proof that the alien girl was real. He didn't know where to go. The military was after him. His own government had branded him a traitor. But none of that mattered. The girl had said his name. She had called him Daddy, and Marcus couldn't erase the memory of her eyes. Those bright blue eyes that looked both alien and heartbreakingly human. Hours later, Marcus found shelter in an old train station that had been abandoned for years. He sat on the cold floor, his laptop open, and rewatched the footage. There she was again, the small silver-skinned girl floating in some kind of glowing chamber, surrounded by strange lights and alien symbols. "Marcus," her voice echoed softly through the speakers. "You promised you would find me." Marcus swallowed hard. "How do you know me?" he whispered. "What are you?" But she didn't answer. Instead, a pattern of symbols flashed behind her. Marcus froze. Those symbols weren't random. They were part of a genetic code sequence. He had seen something like it before, years ago, in a project that had been erased from every public record, Project Halo. Back then, Marcus was one of the youngest scientists in a secret government program that studied alien biology. The mission was to understand how alien DNA interacted with human cells. Most of the experiments failed, but one succeeded. Marcus had worked on cell fusion samples, trying to see if a hybrid organism could survive in human conditions. But the project was suddenly shut down. He was told the data was destroyed. Now, staring at the alien girl, Marcus realized the truth. The project hadn't been destroyed. It had continued, and the girl was the result. She wasn't just a random alien child. She was made from his own DNA. Before he could think more, the quiet night broke with the sound of helicopters. Bright lights flooded through the shattered windows. A voice shouted through a speaker, "Dr. Marcus Hale, step outside immediately." He backed away, clutching his laptop. "No, not yet," he muttered. Soldiers in black armor stormed the station. Marcus ran through the back exit, weaving through rusted metal and dark tunnels. Bullets hit the walls behind him, sparks flying. He found an old service ladder and climbed up, emerging onto a rainy street. A car screeched to a stop in front of him. The door opened. It was Dr. Ilara Mendez. "Get in," she yelled. Marcus didn't hesitate. He jumped in and the car sped away into the dark. They drove for miles in silence. The only sound was the hum of the engine and the rain tapping on the windows. Finally, Ilara spoke. "You've gone too far this time," she said, her voice shaking. "Do you know what you're involved in?" "Yes," Marcus said quietly. "Project Halo, the hybrid program." Ilara's hands tightened on the steering wheel. "That project was classified decades ago. No one was supposed to know about it." "Well, someone didn't listen," Marcus replied. "Because that girl exists. She's real. And she has my DNA. Alara looked at him, her eyes wide. Your DNA? Marcus, that's not possible. He opened the laptop and played the message again. The alien girl's face appeared, her voice trembling. Because you made me. Alara's face turned pale. She whispered, oh my God. They stopped at an old research facility outside the city, one that had once belonged to the government before it was shut down. The walls were covered in dust, the lights flickering faintly. Marcus connected his laptop to one of the remaining terminals. The system hummed to life. He typed in the old project code. Halo 17A, the screen unlocked, revealing old experiment logs, genetic maps, and medical scans. And then, one video file. Date 12 years ago, Marcus clicked it. The footage showed a laboratory bathed in blue light. Inside a glass pod floated an embryo, half human, half something else. A label under it read, Subject AL01, Hybrid Viability Test. Marcus watched in silence as scientists in white coats took notes. One of them stepped closer to the camera. Marcus froze. It was him, a younger version of himself. Alara gasped. Marcus, you were there? He shook his head in disbelief. I don't remember this. I never saw this recording. In the video, the younger Marcus smiled slightly and said, if this works, she'll be the bridge between two worlds. Then the footage cut to black. Marcus leaned back, his mind spinning. It was true. He had been part of it. Somehow. His DNA had been used without his full understanding. Or maybe his memory had been altered after the project ended. The realization hit him like lightning. The alien girl wasn't just asking for her father. She was asking for him. Alara whispered. If she's alive, then she must have survived the escape pod crash they covered up. That's why the signal came from Jupiter. That's where the experiment was launched. Marcus stared at the ceiling. They didn't destroy her. They sent her away. And now she's calling you back, Alara said softly. Suddenly, alarms blared through the building. Red lights flashed. They found us, Alara shouted. Marcus grabbed the drive, shoving it into his pocket. We have to go. But before they could reach the exit, the screens in the lab came alive. Every monitor filled with her face, the alien girl. Her eyes glowed brighter than ever. Daddy. They're coming. Don't let them take me again. Marcus's heart ached. He stepped closer to the screen. I'm coming for you, he said. I promise. The screens flickered and her image vanished. Outside, engines roared. Soldiers were already surrounding the building. Marcus turned to Alara. There's only one place we can go now. Where? She asked. He looked out the window toward the sky, toward the stars. To find her. The rain had stopped, but the world around Marcus Hale felt darker than ever. He and Alara drove through the empty countryside, heading toward a secret base that had been erased from all maps, Project Halo's original site. It lay deep under the mountains, a place where the government once played with life itself. The road ended at a rusted gate covered in vines. Behind it stood a massive underground entrance, silent and forgotten. Marcus stared at it for a long time. I worked here once, he whispered, but it feels like I'm seeing it for the first time. Alara looked uneasy. Are you sure you want to do this? If they erased your memory, it was for a reason. He nodded slowly. If that girl was born here, I need to know why. They pried open the gate and stepped inside. The air was cold and heavy, smelling of metal and dust. The deeper they went, the more it felt like walking into a tomb. Old lights flickered to life as they passed, powered by backup generators still running after all these years. The halls were lined with glass rooms filled with broken machines and faded warning signs. Authorized personnel only. Biological containment zone. Do not enter, experiment in progress. Marcus stopped at a cracked door labeled Lab 7. His pulse quickened. This was my section, they entered. Inside, a single computer still blinked faintly with a red light. Marcus brushed off the dust and connected his portable drive. The system whirred awake, showing old project files. And then a single line appeared on the screen. Project Halo. Human Xenon Hybrid Initiative status. Terminated after subject. Escape. Alara frowned. Subject escape? Marcus clicked the file. The monitor showed images, blurry photos of a glowing pod, a small fetus, and a strange figure with silver skin, and next to it, a woman, not human, Her skin was pale and her eyes pure white. She looked fragile, almost translucent. Marcus whispered, "That's her mother." The document called her Xenon Specimen Alpha. She was part of an alien race that made contact decades ago, briefly, secretly, and never again. The text read, "The alien mother provided genetic material under unknown conditions. Subject AL-01 carried both human and Xenon DNA. Accelerated growth successful. Conscious development unpredictable." Alara's eyes widened. "They combined her DNA with yours. That's why she called you Daddy." Marcus scrolled further. The next page froze his blood. At age 1, approximate human 7 years, subject AL-01 demonstrated telepathic capability. Emotional attachment to Dr. Hale detected. Subject refused separation. Protocol enforced. He whispered, "I was here when she was alive." Memories flickered in his mind. Brief flashes of laughter, a small hand holding his finger, a child's voice saying, "Don't go." He staggered back, clutching his head. "I remember her. I remember her." Alara held his arm. "Marcus, what did they do?" He closed his eyes, the pieces slowly falling into place. "They wiped my memory after the escape. They didn't want anyone to know she survived." He stared at the old footage again. The video showed chaos in the lab, alarms blaring, lights flashing red. Scientists running. A small glowing pod shooting upward, breaking through a metal ceiling into the sky, and then silence. Marcus whispered, "They sent her away." Into space, Alara scrolled further. A log entry appeared, written by one of the lead scientists. Subject AL-01 launched for containment to lunar orbit. Trajectory malfunctioned. Last known signal, Jupiter's region. Dr. Hale's memory erased under Protocol Black. Alara looked at him with disbelief. "They used your DNA to create her. You grew attached, and when she escaped, they made you forget." Marcus clenched his fists. "And now she's still out there calling me back." For a moment, the only sound was the hum of the old computer. Then suddenly the screens flickered again. The alien girl appeared, her face clear and close. "Daddy," she said softly. "You remember me now, don't you?" Marcus froze. "How are you here?" Her voice was weak but calm. "You left me in the dark, but I always waited. I followed your heartbeat through the stars." Tears filled his eyes. "I didn't leave you. They took you from me." "I know," she whispered, "but they're coming again. The others. They want to take me away forever." The screen glitched and her voice broke with static. "Find me before they do." Then she was gone. Alara looked terrified. "Marcus, that signal came directly into this facility. That means she's tracking you now." He wiped his face, trying to steady his breath. "Then she must have found a way to connect through the old systems. She's still fighting to survive." Before Alara could reply, alarms suddenly rang through the facility. Loud, sharp, and urgent. Intrusion detected. Marcus turned toward the corridor. "They found us again." Alara grabbed her bag. "The military?" "No," Marcus said, his voice low. "Something else." The ground trembled. A deep rumble echoed through the tunnels, followed by a piercing metallic scream. The ceiling lights flickered, then went black. A faint blue glow filled the hallway. Dozens of floating drones, not human-made. Their design was too smooth, too alien, Alara whispered. "They're not from Earth." Marcus's voice trembled. "The Xenons. They've come for her." He grabbed the drive and the laptop, pulling Alara toward the emergency exit. As they ran through the tunnels, beams of blue light swept past, searching for them. At the surface, the night sky cracked open with thunder. In the distance, bright lights hovered above the mountains, ships, silent and enormous. Marcus looked up, breathless. "They want her back. But I can't let them take her." Alara stared at him. "You're going after her, aren't you?" He nodded. "She's my daughter." He looked back once at the mountains where Project Halo had been buried, and then at the sky, where the ships shimmered like stars. "If I don't find her," he said, "they'll erase everything. Again." And as the alien ships moved across the clouds, Marcus Hale swore he would reach her first, no matter what waited beyond the edge of space. The next morning, the world woke up to silence. For the first time in days, there were no alien broadcasts. No strange lights in the sky, no signals from deep space. The girl's voice, "Are you my daddy?" had vanished completely. People began to believe it was finally over. News anchors spoke with tired smiles. The event has ended, they said. Humanity can breathe again. But Marcus Hale knew better. He stood on a hill far outside the city, staring at the horizon. His laptop sat open on the hood of a dusty Jeep, its antenna pointing toward the sky. For 12 hours, he had received nothing, but in his gut he knew she was still out there, waiting or worse, in danger. Alara sat beside him, sipping cold coffee. "You should rest," she said softly. "You've been awake for 2 days." Marcus shook his head. She said they were coming for her. The Xenons. If they reach her first, she'll disappear forever. Alara looked at him with quiet fear. "And if you reach her first?" He didn't answer. His eyes stayed on the clouds, dark and heavy like bruises. That night, everything changed again. As the moon rose over the silent city, people began hearing a faint hum. At first it was only in the radios. Then the hum turned into a whisper, "Daddy." Across every continent her voice returned. This time it was weaker, trembling, filled with pain. "They found me, please, help me." The signal grew louder, spreading through the atmosphere like a heartbeat. The sky shimmered with blue light, and once again the alien girl appeared. This time across the entire sky, projected above cities and oceans alike. She wasn't calm anymore. Her hair floated around her face as if she were underwater, and the light around her flickered like fading fire. "They're hurting me," she whispered. "I don't want to go back." The world panicked. Children cried. Adults stared in silence. Soldiers froze, unsure whether to point their weapons at the sky or the screens. Marcus's chest ached as he watched the broadcast on his laptop. The coordinates flashed faintly at the bottom of the image, numbers that only someone trained in astrophysics would notice. "Europa," Marcus breathed. "She's near Jupiter's moon, Europa." Alara leaned closer. "She's sending her location." He nodded, eyes wide. "And she's crying. Look, real tears. That means she's alive, not just a transmission." Governments across the world began scrambling their defense systems. Satellites were redirected, and secret messages flew between nations. The UN announced an emergency plan to intercept the signal using orbital weapons. "If the source is hostile," they said, "we will neutralize it." But Marcus couldn't let that happen. "She's not hostile." He shouted at the television. "She's scared." Alara placed a hand on his shoulder. "Then we have to reach her before they do." Marcus opened a secret file from Project Halo. Inside were blueprints of a prototype spacecraft called Helios 9, a stealth research ship designed for long-range missions. It had never been launched. He turned to Alara. "We can use it." Alara blinked. "Marcus, that ship isn't ready. It's experimental." "So was she," he said quietly. The next day, Marcus and Alara broke into the hidden hangar of the old space division. Most of the guards were gone, moved to handle the panic caused by the broadcast. Inside the hangar, Helios 9 rested beneath layers of dust and silence. Its hull shimmered faintly with solar paint, and its engine still hummed with potential. Marcus climbed into the cockpit, his hands shaking. "She's beautiful," he whispered. Alara checked the systems. "She'll fly, maybe, but we only have enough fuel for one jump to Jupiter's orbit. After that, we're stranded." Marcus smiled sadly. "Then we make it count." They worked through the night, powering up the ship. The hangar lights flickered as ancient machines came alive again. Then, as if sensing his decision, the alien girl's voice filled the speakers. So soft, it sounded like a dream. "Daddy, please hurry." Marcus froze, his throat tight. "I'm coming, sweetheart," he whispered. When dawn came, Helios 9 roared to life. The ship broke through the clouds, leaving a trail of gold and fire behind. From below, radar towers caught the signal, an unauthorized launch. Governments tried to stop it, but Helios 9 vanished from the system within minutes, cloaked in its own light. Marcus looked out at the blue curve of Earth shrinking behind him. "We're not coming back, are we?" Alara asked quietly. He smiled faintly. "Maybe not, but she's waiting." As they crossed the upper atmosphere, Marcus connected his systems to the alien signal. The girl's voice filled the cockpit, mixed with static and broken words. Cold, dark. "Please." Marcus adjusted the frequency. "Keep talking," he said. "I'm following your voice." Days passed in deep space. Stars shimmered like tears outside the window. Marcus hardly slept. The closer they got to Jupiter, the louder the signal grew. But so did something else, another presence. Ilara noticed it first. "Marcus, look," she said, pointing at the radar. Multiple ships ahead, alien vessels. Sleek, curved, silent. Dozens of them circling around one faint glowing pod near Europa. Marcus clenched his fists. They found her. He zoomed in. Inside the pod, the girl floated, motionless, her light fading. "She's dying," Marcus whispered. Suddenly, the alien fleet began charging their weapons. Blue energy built up around them, aimed directly at the pod. Ilara shouted, "They're going to destroy her." Marcus slammed his hand on the controls. "Not while I'm alive." Helios 9 dove forward, engines roaring, breaking through the alien perimeter. "Marcus, they'll kill us," Ilara cried. "Then we die trying," he said. As the alien weapons fired, a strange thing happened. The girl's eyes opened. Her voice echoed inside Marcus's mind, not through the radio, but directly in his thoughts. "Daddy, I can see you." The lights around her flared, sending waves of energy through space. Alien ships spun out of formation, their systems crashing. Ilara gasped. "She's protecting us." Marcus's voice trembled. "Hold on, sweetheart. I'm almost there." The ship shook violently as they approached the pod. He reached out through the glass, his hand trembling, as if he could touch her across the stars. And just before the ship collided with the alien barrier, her final words echoed in his head, soft, broken, but full of hope. "I knew you'd come." Space was burning. The sky above Jupiter looked like a battlefield of light, streaks of blue and gold colliding across the black void. The alien fleet circled like predators, their ships glowing with cold energy. And in the center of it all, a small pod drifted helplessly, the alien girl's pod. Inside the Helios 9, Marcus Hale gripped the controls with trembling hands. Warning alarms screamed in his ears. The ship's metal shook as enemy fire tore across the hull. "Shields at 40%, Ilara shouted. Sparks burst from the console beside her. "We can't take another hit!" Marcus ignored her. His eyes were locked on the pod. "Almost there," he muttered. "Just a little closer." Through the cockpit glass, he could see her, floating inside the capsule, her silver skin dim, her small hands pressed weakly against the glass. Her lips moved, forming one word he couldn't hear. "Daddy." The alien fleet repositioned. Their leader, a tall figure with sharp blue armor, appeared on the ship's screen. His voice was like thunder, cold and powerful. "Human vessel, you are trespassing in Xenon space. Cease your pursuit. The hybrid belongs to us." Marcus leaned toward the communicator. "She's my daughter." "You can't take her." The alien's expression didn't change. "The child is a creation of science, not of love. Her existence threatens the balance of two worlds. She must be returned to the source or destroyed." "Destroyed?" Ilara gasped. Marcus's voice broke. "You can't do that. She's alive. She feels, she dreams, she cries. She's not a weapon." The alien's eyes glowed brighter. "You humans always confuse emotion with weakness. The girl carries knowledge she was never meant to have." Marcus clenched his jaw. "Then I'll protect her with my life." The alien tilted his head. "Then you will die." The signal cut. The Helios 9 dove straight toward the alien fleet. Ilara shouted over the alarms. "Marcus, you can't fight them all." "I don't need to fight them," he said, pressing a sequence on the panel. "I just need to reach her." He activated the ship's gravity pulse engine, a system that was never tested before. The ship glowed white and surged forward, bending light around it like a comet. The aliens fired again, but their beams missed as the Helios 9 slipped through the gaps like a ghost. "Hold on," Marcus yelled. The ship slammed into the pod's orbit. The impact rattled every bone in their bodies. Metal screamed as the pod latched onto the hull with a loud clang. Ilara gasped. "We got her!" Marcus released the controls and stumbled toward the back of the ship. The docking chamber was filled with light from the pod. The girl floated inside, her eyes barely open. He placed his hand against the glass. "It's me." "It's Daddy." Her tiny fingers pressed against the same spot. A tear floated upward in zero gravity. "You came," she whispered through the comm link. Marcus's voice cracked. "I promised I would." Ilara ran in. "Marcus, we have a problem. One of the alien ships is charging a fusion beam. If they fire, we'll be vaporized." Marcus looked at the girl, then back at the ship's control screen. "We can't outrun it." The girl closed her eyes. "I can help." Her voice echoed, not through speakers this time, but directly in their minds. The lights in the room began to flicker. The pod's surface cracked with streams of blue energy. "Wait, what are you doing?" Marcus shouted. The girl opened her glowing eyes. "They made me with power they didn't understand. But I know how to use it." The pod shattered, and for a moment everything went silent. Then the air filled with radiant light. The girl floated into the air, surrounded by a soft blue aura. Her silver skin shimmered as waves of energy rippled out from her tiny frame. Marcus shielded his eyes as the light grew brighter, stronger. Through the ship's windows, the alien fleet began to lose power. Their engines dimmed, their weapons went dead. "She's shutting them down," Ilara whispered. The alien commander's voice broke through the radio, filled with panic. "Contain the hybrid?" "Now," but it was too late. The girl lifted her hands and the entire fleet froze in place, trapped in a field of light that pulsed like a heartbeat. Her voice filled the silence. "Stop fighting. I don't want to hurt anyone. I just want to go home." Marcus felt tears in his eyes. "You are home, sweetheart," the girl smiled faintly. "Then why do I still feel alone?" Before he could answer, the energy around her began to destabilize. Lights flickered, alarms blared. Ilara checked the readings. She's losing control. The power, she can't hold it. Marcus reached out, trying to grab her hand. "Stay with me. Listen to my voice." She turned to him, her eyes glowing like stars. "If I stop now, they'll come again. I have to end it." "No," Marcus shouted. "You don't have to end anything. You just have to live." Her voice softened. "I'm sorry, Daddy." Outside, the alien fleet exploded into a storm of light. Jupiter's orbit shuddered as shock waves rippled through space. The Helios 9 spun out of control, tumbling through debris and static. Marcus screamed her name, but the light was too bright to see. Then, silence. The screens went black. The alarm stopped. Only the sound of Marcus's ragged breathing filled the cabin. Ilara slowly opened her eyes. "Marcus, she's gone." He looked up, heart pounding. "No." He ran to the observation window. The stars were still there, but the alien fleet had vanished. All that remained was calm space and a single floating figure, glowing faintly like a candle in the dark. The girl. Alive. They pulled her into the ship. Her eyes opened slowly, weak but peaceful. Marcus knelt beside her. "You saved us," she smiled faintly. "I didn't want them to be bad anymore. Now they can rest." Tears ran down his face. "You're amazing." Her small hand touched his cheek. "Will you take me home?" He nodded, voice breaking. "Yes, wherever you want to go." She looked out the window at the stars. "Then let's find it together." Marcus held her close as the ship drifted through the quiet sea of space. Father and daughter at last, two lost souls, bound by love that had defied science, distance, and fear itself. Space was quiet again. After the storm of battle and light, only silence remained. The stars hung like frozen sparks in the endless dark. The alien fleet was gone, their weapons melted into drifting debris. Inside the Helios 9, the lights flickered weakly. Systems were half dead, engines cold. But Marcus Hale didn't care. His eyes were fixed on the small figure resting beside him. The alien girl, his daughter, was alive. Her silver skin shimmered softly in the dim light. Her breathing was slow but steady. For the first time, Marcus allowed himself to smile. "You did it," he whispered. "You saved us all." Her blue eyes fluttered open. "Did I make them stop fighting?" "Yes," Marcus said, brushing her hair away from her face. "It's over now." She looked out the window, her gaze distant. "Then why do I still feel cold?" Ilara, who was tending to the controls, turned with concern. "Her body temperature is dropping." Whatever energy she released, it drained her. Marcus's heart tightened. "No, she's going to be okay." "She has to be." The girl smiled faintly. "Don't be sad, Daddy. I can feel the stars. They're calling me." For a few hours they drifted in silence through the black sea of space. The Earth was millions of miles away, just a blue dot behind Jupiter's golden glow. Marcus tried to send signals, but communications were dead. The Helios 9 had burned its last fuel to reach the battle zone. They were stranded. Ilara checked the readings again. "Marcus, the life support will last maybe 2 more days." He didn't answer. His mind was spinning, searching for a way out. But deep down, he knew there was none. The girl placed her tiny hand over his. "You don't have to save me anymore." He shook his head. "That's what fathers do." Her voice softened. "Then let me save you." Suddenly a faint light flickered outside the window. Marcus and Alara turned. A single xenon ship was approaching, sleek, silent, its surface glowing with pale blue lines. It didn't open fire. Instead, a soft voice filled the cabin. "Dr. Hale." Marcus froze. It was the alien commander, the same one who had threatened to destroy them hours ago. "You've proven the child's strength," the alien said. "She carries both your spirit and ours. But her energy is unstable. If she remains in your world, she will die." Alara stood up. "You want to take her again, don't you?" The alien's voice was calm. "No, I offer you a choice." Marcus's throat tightened. "What kind of choice?" "Let her come with us. Among the Xenon, she will live and learn to control her power, or stay with you and her body will fail. Her human side cannot survive what she has become." Silence filled the cabin. The hum of the ship sounded like a heartbeat slowing down. The girl looked up at Marcus, eyes wide with fear. "If I go, will I ever see you again?" He couldn't speak. The question broke him. Alara whispered, "Marcus, she might not make it if she stays." Marcus's hands shook. He wanted to scream, to fight, to destroy every alien ship in the galaxy. But when he looked into his daughter's eyes, he saw something deeper than fear. He saw understanding. She already knew the answer. Marcus took her hand gently. "You were never a mistake," he said. "You were a miracle." Tears floated from his eyes, turning into tiny, shining orbs in the air. "You changed everything. You made me remember what it means to love." The girl smiled weakly. "Then you'll never forget me." "Never," he whispered. Not even for a second. The alien commander's ship opened a hatch and a beam of light filled the cabin. It shimmered like liquid glass, soft and calm. Marcus lifted his daughter into his arms and walked toward it. She looked back at Alara. "Thank you." Alara wiped her eyes. "Be brave, little one." The girl turned back to Marcus. "It's okay, Daddy. I'll always hear your heartbeat. It's the first sound I ever knew." He kissed her forehead. "And I'll always look for your light." As he placed her into the beam, the light wrapped around her gently, lifting her like a feather. For a moment, her small hand reached back, glowing brighter and brighter until she whispered her last words. "I love you, Daddy." Then she was gone. The light vanished into the stars. The alien ship disappeared without a trace, leaving only silence behind. Marcus stood frozen, staring at the empty space where his daughter had been. His heart felt both full and broken. Alara stepped closer, her voice soft. "You did the right thing." He nodded slowly. "It doesn't feel like it." She looked at him sadly. "Sometimes love means letting go." Days passed. The Helios 9 drifted quietly toward the sun's light, carried by gravity and luck. Then one morning the radar beeped faintly. Alara gasped. "Marcus, a rescue signal. Earth's fleet is tracking us." He didn't move at first. His gaze was still fixed on the stars, on the place where she had vanished. "Marcus," Alara said gently, "we're going home." He smiled faintly. Home. Weeks later, back on Earth, Marcus stood alone on a hill watching the sunrise. The world had changed. People no longer feared the stars, they looked at them with wonder. News spoke of peace talks between humans and a distant alien race. No one knew the real story of the child who had brought two worlds together. No one except him. As the first rays of dawn touched the sky, a faint shimmer appeared above the horizon, a soft blue light, like a heartbeat in the clouds. Marcus smiled. He placed his hand over his heart and whispered, "I see you, sweetheart." And somewhere far across the galaxy, a small voice echoed in his mind, gentle and pure. "I see you too, Daddy." The world would one day call her the Star Child, the bridge between two species, the proof that love could outshine war. But to Marcus Hale, she would always just be his little girl, the one who taught the universe what it meant to be human. Key end.